Then Joseph could no longer control himself. Before all his attendants, he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. He's about to have a very emotional moment. A very emotional moment indeed. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. Yeah, Joseph is crying a lot. So, okay. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" Because they could have lied, I guess, technically. But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. Now, I had this thought. It's like, they saw a ghost. No, 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 no. I'm pretty sure if they saw a ghost, they would be less terrified. They saw someone they sold into slavery and thought they would never have to see ever again. They're so scared out of their minds because of all the mistreatingness they have done with Joseph. Yeah. Yeah, kind of probably like how the disciples were also scared. Scared a little bit. And they saw Jesus raised from the dead. And Benjamin, probably wasn't even on this, just found out he really did have this situation where someone that he thought was dead is alive again. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not distress and do not be angry with yourselves for sending me there, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." So Joseph is saying, who sent him to Egypt? His brothers. But who also sent him to Egypt? God, to save lives. For 2 years now, there has been a famine in the land, and for the next 5 years, there will not be plowing or reaping, but God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household, and ruler of all of Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, "This is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all of Egypt. Come down to me. Do not delay." Yes. Now here's another thing. So Joseph's brothers rejected him and sent him down to Egypt for slavery. This parallels how the people of Jesus' day rejected him and sent him to die on the cross. But does Joseph reject the people who sent him to suffering? No! He does not. So why do people think Jesus rejects the Jews? God has not rejected his people Israel. Whatsoever. You shall live in the region of Goshen, and be near me, you, your children, and your grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. Come to Joseph, all the nations of the world, including Israel, including the Jews, come to Joseph to find food and salvation from the famine, to find life. So why are there people, tell me, why are there people who think for a second that all the nations won't be included? Every single last one, including Israel, can come to Jesus for salvation. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that it is really I who am speaking to you. Tell my father about all the honor I accorded to me in Egypt, and about everything you have seen, and bring my father down here quickly. Then yes, tell the father, because who he thought was dead was alive. The son he thought was gone is back. And he brought salvation to many, many people. But who did he bring salvation to first? Oh yeah, it was his own people that rejected him. And then he went to the Gentiles. And now he's bringing everyone into the fold of salvation. Yeah. There were two sets in Joseph's story of people he saved. First, the Gentiles from starvation, because his own people rejected him. And then he's bringing everyone. Everyone is included. Just like Jesus' two comings. First, the message goes out to the Gentiles because the Jews have rejected it. But don't think for a second that means God has rejected his people. For no, God will not forsake Israel. Yeah, then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin embraced him, weeping. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterwards, his brothers talked with him. Oh, they have so much to talk about. So much. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and return to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best land in Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land." Yes, it really is the best land in Egypt. There's some people are like, why is it on the west side of the river? West side of the Nile. Yeah. The west side of the Nile was the land of the dead. That's why Joseph and his family were on the east side of the Nile, along with every other Egyptian back then, because that was the land of the dead. Anyway. You are also to tell them, do this, take some carts from your children, for your children and your wives, and get your father and come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all of Egypt will be yours. Yeah. And now everyone is enjoying the land and bounty of Egypt. So, who was responsible for Joseph's affliction? Well, his own family members, definitely. And, well, the Gentiles too, and, the Ishmaelites, the Potiphar's wife. Oh, wait, those were guilty in Joseph. Yeah. It's because of everyone's sins Jesus was crucified. It was because of the Pharisees of the day and the Romans that Jesus was crucified. Yeah, both. It was both of their faults. But what they planned for evil, God meant for good, because that was the way that all sin must have been paid. Now, whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. The person who kills the sacrifice is the one it's for. So all you anti-Semitic people, no. God has not rejected his people, Israel. They're not rejected. You people are disgusting. Yes. So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts, and Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them he gave new clothing. But to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he sent to his father: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, the 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other provisions for his journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, "Don't quarrel on the way." It's like, "Don't fight, bye." Probably some joking thing. So they went up out of Egypt, came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him, "Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is ruler of all of Egypt." Jacob was stunned. He did not believe them. I mean, yeah. But this is like the women in the tomb going up to the disciples like, "Jesus is alive." And like, no. But when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob was revived. And Israel said, "I am convinced my son Joseph is still alive, and I will go and see him before I die." There was evidence that Jesus was still alive. His wounds, and was crucified, his wounds. Obviously, he ate. That was a physical resurrection. Also, now something I noticed too. Everything Joseph told them. Does that mean they had to tell their father about how they faked Joseph's death and sold him into slavery? Yeah. Most likely. That must have been awkward. But they confessed their sins, and they were forgiven. What other parallels to Genesis chapter 45 can you get? Probably a lot. So why did Pharaoh say basically what Joseph said? He didn't know what Joseph said. He just like, hey, bring your father down here. He didn't know Joseph has already told them, like, yeah, bring dad down. So that outburst of is my father still living could just be an emotional outburst Joseph had. Yeah, his brothers were scared out of their freaking minds. But yes, it was not you who sent me here, but God. The first sentence of chapter 8. Yes, but God sent me ahead of you to preserve you a remnant on earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. By a great deliverance. Yes, because it was to save lives that God sent me here ahead of you. Yes, do not be angry with yourselves for sending me here. Like, Joseph is literally saying, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. So, God has not rejected his people Israel. And the people are redeemed. Okay, tomorrow, not tomorrow, no. Next Saturday, I know it's not Saturday, I missed a day, I messed up. Jacob goes to Egypt.
Jacob goes to Egypt.
Yes. Yes, that's what happens. Well, watch my other videos, subscribe, like, I don't know, I don't care to do something. I have other videos, like a whole playlist of this deep dive stuff. Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of links and stuff down in the description. Yeah. That's all.